everyone, I have Bowie with me here today, and he's looking super duper cute over here. And I'm just going to be changing him into this Be Together onesie that he came with in his box opening. It's super cute. It's from the UK. And then these little Carter's newborn pants. It's kind of got that waffle texture. And it's really cold outside, still pretty snowy here, so I was thinking maybe socks, maybe scratch mitts, maybe both. I'm not really sure yet. I was kind of just going to play with it and see what's working for him. But today I am going to talk about my cringier years in the reborn hobby, and I'm going to talk about the time that I tried to make my own silicone doll. And like, even just saying that out loud, like, I just feel like so embarrassed, like, for myself. And there's always those things, you know, that you did when you were younger and you're just like, why did I think that was a good idea? So let me just start out with like a little bit of like preface here, get the story going, and then we'll dig into it. So I've always been like this like crafty person who I never start out small like I should. I always just like go in deep and go in hard, and I'm just like, let's start this, let's do it. So a lot of the times I'll pick like my first projects as being something that's way over my level, and then I'll I'll realize that and then kind of go down, right? Sometimes I think that's a good thing, you know, I'm ambitious and things a lot of the times like turn out better than what I'm expecting. This was not one of those situations, if you guys are wondering, but that's kind of just generally like what happens is like I see a finished product somewhere and I get excited and I'm like, I want to do that. Me, right? Me too. If you guys have ever like read the Me Too iguana books or whatever, but that's basically me. It's like I'll see something and I'll be like, me too. And now I have a little bit more insight, and I do probably start out a little bit more intermediate than what's recommended, but I at least don't go like that far, right? So recent example, I started crocheting again, and the only thing that I've ever made before was like a hat. And that was it. And then I saw this picture of a crocheted rabbit, and I'm just like, I want to make that. And so I at least just didn't go in for that like right away. I made the little triceratops that I showed you guys in the last video, which I think was a beginner level amigurumi project. So I think that was fine, but still, you know, a beginner getting back into crochet would maybe like pick like a blanket square or something where I was just like, you know what, we're gonna make a triceratops, like let's do this. So yeah, that's me. And I was just starting off in the reborn hobby, and there were maybe not just starting off, but I was probably in the reborn hobby for like a good 2 years, maybe even 3, and probably more like 3 years. And I just had learned about silicones, and there wasn't really any big doll shows. So I wanted one so bad, and I knew, like, I was looking at prices and I knew there was just no way that even if I saved for 2 years that I would be able to afford a silicone. And then I got in this idea in my head that I was like, well, what if I did spend all this money and saved up for so long, and then I ended up like not liking it as much as I thought, like that would be so horrible and so crushing. So it's just like, I just want a way to experience it before actually like full diving in, right? So I was like, you know what, it might be kind of a fun project for me to try to make a silicone. And I sort of saw this video floating around that was just like how to make your own silicone doll. And at first I ignored it, and then it started gaining popularity. And if you guys have been in the reborn hobby for a really long time, you guys know exactly what video I am talking about. Because it was, yeah, extremely popular. And so I saw that, I went back to it, and I was like, you know what? I got this. Like, why not? Let's just try it. And so I bought the silicone from a a company that sold things for like movie productions, and so they sold like silicone for like or you know, like the fake like hands or whatever that you see in movies. I can't think of the word right now. Props. There we go. Oh my gosh, my brain was just not working there for a minute. Yeah, so they had silicone for props, and so I bought it, and I bought my this is gonna sound so bad, but the video had you make the mold using like silicone caulking that you use like on your bathtub mixed with cornstarch. I am not kidding you guys, like that's what this person recommended, and like not that I'm dissing her, it was actually kind of clever. But yeah, so this was like her molding material, and I was thinking about buying like the molding material that the company recommended, but then I was like, oh no, like, you know, this person told me to use this, so I was just like, you know what, it's cheaper, like, why not? And so yeah, I made that. It smelled horrible. Like, if you guys know what it smells like when, you know, they're doing the caulking in your bathtub, it smells like vinegar, it's awful. I had to like open some windows and everything. And then I used a reborn kit that I had purchased for this project. And I did ask the artist for permission first, because it's, you know, I knew that it was never okay to replicate someone's work in another medium without asking them first. And I told her that this would be something that, you know, was just for me, that I would never ever sell or like give to someone else. And she said that that was okay. She actually responded to me, which like now even that sounds kind of silly. It's just like, wow, I actually like emailed a sculptor to like ask them if I could make a silicone version out of their doll. It's a little weird, but I did do that. And so we were all ready to go, had all my materials. I made the mold. The molds actually went really well. The limbs came out just fine. I think you had to like cut the silicone like very slowly and easily so that it didn't damage the kit. So I did that, turned out fine. Then you had to mummify it in tape. So I did that. And I mixed my part A and my part B silicone together, and I poured it in the molds, and I did as much tapping as I possibly could to try to get all the bubbles out. I probably tapped each piece, each limb, for a good for a good 5 minutes, because that's what they recommended you to do in like both the videos, was to tap it as much so that to get all the air bubbles out. And I thought I did a pretty good job. I mean, every time I tapped, they're just in like more and more and more bubbles, and so I was like, you know what, like I probably got all of them. I don't know. So lazy. Anyway, so I waited a couple days, and I was super excited to pull out my silicone doll all for myself, and I did, and it was so horrible. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I actually did pretty good with the silicone color, because you had to add in like different colors to make a good flesh tone, and I feel like I actually got the flesh tone like pretty good, right? Like it was like, that part was fantastic actually. However, my molds, because it was made out of duct tape and silicone caulking, it had like leaked into the crevices, so like the gaps were just like so bad, like the worst you've ever seen. But even more bad than that is the doll literally looked like a sponge, because there were so many bubbles, and like some of the bubbles, they weren't like small ones either, like they were like big bubbles. Yeah, just looked absolutely terrible. But the really cool thing about that is I did get to actually experience what a silicone doll would feel like, because it's, you know, I mean, of course, like I wasn't able to like put it together and do all that, because it was so bad that wasn't even possible. But I was able to feel the weight of the limb, and to feel the squishiness, and to feel how it would like, you know, feel like a real baby in one way, and I got the appeal a little bit more. And so then I actually did decide to save up and get a silicone later on because of that experience. So I don't think that it was a complete loss, but I was even planning to paint this doll, you guys. I thought it was going to turn out so good that I was looking at like silicone painting tutorials, and like I said, like I didn't have expectations that it was going to be like super good and like professional level, which is why I knew that I would never sell it. I knew that it was going to be like pretty bad, right? I just didn't know it was gonna be that bad. But like the reason why I was thinking of this story is oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget. There was someone on YouTube who was talking about like how ridiculous it would be for someone to try to make their own silicone, and I like kind of just got like really red because I was like, oh, I tried to do that, and it was such a horrible idea. I would not recommend anyone to try to make their own silicone. Now that there's like doll shows around, if you want to experience like what a silicone feels like, I know it's not cheap to go to these doll shows, but if there's one close enough to where you can drive, you know, I think that would be a good idea, and just staying for one day, so you don't have to buy a hotel, or, you know, there's so many different ways now that you can learn without having to do what I did. And so yeah, kind of moral of the story there, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this little story. I think these socks are ridiculously cute on him, and yeah, for all those people who, you know, say like, oh, I can never afford a silicone, I can never get one, they're just way too expensive. If you do really put your mind to it, you know, amazing things can happen, and you really just have to save up, even if it's like $1 every day, right? $1 every day gets you $365 closer to your silicone, right? So it can happen, but yeah, it definitely does take a lot. For me, it took a lot of buying and selling reborns, and this whole kind of tragic process of figuring out, you know, that you can't just do that yourself. However, another good thing that happened to it is the kit that I used was actually my Kelsey by Cheryl Weber, which I obviously cleaned the doll really, really well, made sure there was no nicks and scratches. Like I looked under like basically a microscope to make sure that the doll kit wasn't damaged at all. And then I sent it off to the artist and let her kind of know what I did with the doll and that I cleaned it and everything, and she's like, oh, that should be fine. And it was fine. As you guys know, that turned into one of my favorite dolls ever, and that was my Kaylee by, wow, I'm so forgetful tonight. I am so sorry, guys. I think her nursery name was Babies by Danielle, but I'll put her Instagram down below, or at least her nursery name for you guys so that you can look her up. She's fantastic. But yeah, so like that came out of it too, so that was really great. And if you go deep into my old videos, you could probably find one of me talking about making my own silicone. But yeah, ridiculous of me to think, very naive, but it happened, and this is where we are today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. He is just looking so cute. I love his hair. It is the most beautiful, amazing part. So I'm just going to be enjoying him. And you guys have a great rest of your week. And thank you so much for watching. If you've done anything that was just super cringy in your earlier years of collecting reborns, I would love to hear it. Those stories are always fun to share. So yeah, have a great rest of your day, everyone.